Welcome again. This is RIMM Podcast, episode 71. I'm your host, the RIMM Podcast. Our mission is to build a stronger and more connected community by bringing you conversation with local leaders, representatives, elected officials, business owners, and anyone who does something within a community. Today, we are honored to welcome Rick Singh, a prior Orange County Appraiser, now running for Orange County Clerk or Court. We'll discuss his vision for the future, his experience in public service, and issues that matter most to the Orange County residents. Thank you for joining us, and let's started. But welcome to the podcast, Rick.
Igor, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with you. I've been looking forward to this interview and, of course, sharing your company for a long time. I've watched your podcast. So congratulations on a very productive podcast. It's very informative to the community, and I'm honored to be here.
Thank you, sir. So before I jump to the question, a lot of waters resident in Orange County, Seminole County, Osceola County, but specifically for Orange County. Can you define what is the clerk of court does and what is the responsibility day to day, so we can define terminology or the essence of the government, because it's one of the most important part of the government.
Absolutely.
Without the agency, nothing could function.
Absolutely.
So can you define?
Yeah. You know, Igor, that's a very interesting question you ask, and it's a very important question, but it's also the most popular question I get asked as a candidate for clerk of court. And I revert back to 2012 or 2010 when I ran for property appraiser, because back then people asked me, what does the property appraiser do? And ironically, because of the service that we provided to the county, when I left office in 2020, people were telling each other what the property appraiser do. So I tell you that to tell you that this is a very important position. It's a constitutional position, a constitutional office. So it's an office that's not really controlled by the county. It's an independent office. What does the clerk of court do? So I want you to imagine in a nutshell everything you do in the court system before you get to the judge. The clerk of court handles that. All the administrative, all the subpoenas, all the documentation. Clerk of court is responsible for that. And after that, after the judge hits his gavel and gives you a sentence or gives you a verdict, then there's a lot of administrative work that needs to go on there. The clerk of court handles all of that. And of course, fulfilling those requirements is one of the things that the clerk of court do. So it's a very important position. In addition to that, the clerk of court is responsible for jury summonses. The clerk of court is responsible for marriage license. So there's a lot of ancillary functions of this office. Very important office. It's important that you have experience. It's a large office. It has a tremendous amount of employees and a large budget. So, it takes someone with experience to run this office.
Perfect. So now there's a great question. Now, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know many of you know you, but for some of them, can you tell us a little bit how long have you been in the public space?
Sure. So, Igor, I come from a very humble beginning. I was born in a country with no running water and no electricity. Wow. This is the village that I was born in, and lost my father when I was 10 years old. My mother migrated to New York City. She was my inspiration, my beacon to live up to, because this was a lady that came to this country with nothing, worked 3 jobs as a maid to make ends meet. But what she instilled in us was community service. She worked 3 jobs as a maid, but she always found time to give back to the community. And because of that, I joined the military. I worked on weapon systems in the military with the 1st Infantry Division, mechanized. And of course, that's a very high-level security clearance, so you have to be checked out by the government, and it's a very technical position. And after that, I came to Central Florida in 1986. Started a business with my brother, and then went into a position at the property appraiser's office after we sold our business, and worked at the bottom, entry-level position at the property appraiser's office. And then went to night school, got state certified as an appraiser, went back into private practice, and started an appraisal company. I started a Abacus appraisal. After that, that evolved into becoming a real estate broker. So I had a Century 21 franchise, and we also had a mortgage company. I partnered with my wife, and we opened a family business. And after that, I saw the need to run for the office. I firmly believed back then, and still do, that the property appraiser needs to be eminently qualified to run that office. And essentially, since 2012, I ran as a outsider. I was not connected in any way. Money was not there. Of course, all the money was tied up with the incumbent because he was extremely, extremely popular. But I outworked him. I outworked him and became the property appraiser of Orange County in 2012. 2016, I was reelected, and 2020, I left office. It was during COVID. One large entity spent what is reported as $6.8 million to take me out of office.
Wow.
You know, I don't care who you are. You
Of
cannot
course.
win an election if someone is spending $6.8 million.
You can't. You can have as much voice as you can, but there's a lot of money
Yes.
pouring in. Now, I want to jump to the question, like looking back at your time as Orange County Property Appraiser, you often highlight recurring substantial tax revenue for taxpayers. Everybody talk about taxpayers, but what accomplishments are you most proud of during your public service, and why do you believe it had the greatest impact on Orange County as a resident?
So Orange County tax roll is the most complex tax roll in the world. No other jurisdiction has, you know, theme parks, hotel rooms, timeshare. We're ground zero for timeshare. You know, complex properties, mass construction and improvement. As a matter of fact, when I took office in 2012, the tax roll was $112 billion. When I left office in 2020, it was $220 billion.
Wow.
So that revenue was used, as a matter of fact, to build 25 public schools here in Orange County. And again, so what am I most proud of? I am most proud of customer service. I am most proud of the way we treat people. And I firmly believe that politics and public service is a people's business.
Yes.
It's making government work better for people. And if you're not doing that for that reason, then you're in the wrong business.
Yes.
So I firmly believe it's about helping people. And we have helped people by way of informing them of exemptions. We've helped every segment of the community was benefited from my administration in office. As an example, I utilized GIS mapping system on my mapping system, and that supported Orange County government, that supported the additional part of Orange County government, the city of Orlando, city of Oviedo, many cities in the Orange County area and above and beyond, we supported with GIS. We supported industry. The real estate industry relied on us. The insurance industry relied on us. Even my landscaper came to me one day and said, Mr. Singh, you know, I use your mapping system to lay out my sprinkler systems.
Oh, nice.
Right? Because the mapping system was that accurate.
Absolutely.
So again, every segment, fire department, on that map we had where the fire hydrants were located. Transportation, how the street was shaded, determined if it was a one-way or a two-way street. So we had a lot of layers on that mapping system that benefited the community tremendously. So there was a lot of tools. I could tell you about our website, one of the best websites in the world. I got calls from foreign country asking us, who built your website? And we built it right in-house with the property appraiser's office. But you know, it was built with innovation, but it was also built with care. And anything we did in that office was built with care. You know, Igor, I think there's only three reasons people do things in life. They do things because they have to, they do things because they're told to, and they do things because they care.
I love it.
And I essentially instilled that in my staff and, you know, show them the benefits of caring. And it changes the culture tremendously. And this goes into customer service, it goes into technology, it goes into innovation, it goes into many
Approvals
aspects.
too, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I want to follow up. What experience teach you about leadership and accountability, especially in the government?
So leadership is so very important. You know, I learned that because, and I can speak on that eloquently, I think, because I functioned in both environment in government. I worked under a property appraiser and was a subordinate, so I worked from the ground up. And then I worked as the head of the office, right? So leadership is so very important because, you know, I always equated leadership to, and running a large office like this, like it's like holding a lion by the tail. He's moving forward, that's okay. But when he turns around, you got to know what to do. And by that I mean you have to have the experience, you have to have the decision-making process. You know, many people in life want to be the executive, right? But it's important to know what it takes to sign the front of a check
Yep.
compared to the back of a check. As a
Correct.
business owner, I knew exactly what it takes to balance a budget. I knew exactly what it is to recruit, to maintain a staff. I firmly believe that government should be operated like a business. You have a product, you have a staff, you have a budget. So that's essentially the way I have run government offices.
And I want to jump a little bit more challenging question, because if you are in politics, every politician candidate face criticism, some or other. So, what is the toughest criticism your opponents have made about you, and how did you respond to these concerns? Because, like I said, when you are in politics, you gotta take the criticism, and especially if you become a really popular, even the media. I mean, the more you become a popular, the more the surface you scratch, the more criticism you're gonna receive, because you are building the voice, and you're becoming a voice. So, regarding your criticism, what is the toughest criticism that you're hearing from your opponents that are running against you?
So I have not heard any criticism from my opponent as to date. I have in the past received criticism, but I look at criticism objectively.
Here we go.
And criticism, in my mind, helps me to grow.
Correct.
Okay. There's an old saying: it's better to have a wise enemy than a not so wise friend.
Correct.
Right. So I'm a firm believer in growth. I'm a firm believer in accepting criticism when it's productive and when it's justified. Again, I am the furthest from the perfect man. Right. I strive to be perfect, but again, I've erred. I have flaws. And I work to correct those every day. When I get up in the morning, I ask myself, what can I do better today that I didn't do yesterday? And that's my motivation for advancing myself. And, I try to run. So what would they say about me? I don't know, to be honest with you. I've not heard any criticism. I'm sure I will as the campaign goes.
It's coming up.
Yes, I'm sure I will as the campaign goes. But I welcome criticism. I welcome compliments, and I'm open to it.
Yeah, and I know as a good leader in anything, if you cannot take the criticism, you have a really hard time to do a role model in a leadership.
Igor, I actually had information, quote unquote, information that was sent to me regarding my opponents. People would call it negative information about them, and it involved their family, right? Involve them and their family, and I rejected it because I am of the opinion that people's family don't need to be dragged into the electoral. They didn't sign up for that. It's unfair. Obviously, I wouldn't like it to happen to me if that's the case. And I rejected it, and I said, that's not me, that's not my philosophy. These people's family should not be dragged into politics. So again, what would someone say negative about me? I'm sure there's a laundry list out there somewhere. You always have critics, as you rightly said.
Of course.
But I strive to focus on the positive. I strive to focus on how can I benefit the county, how can I benefit the taxpayers that have put me in this office on a daily basis.
But like I said, not many people can take the criticism. They take it to the next level unless you want to make attention. Now the question I want to circle back to the voters. If Orange County voters elect you as a clerk of court, what would your top 3 priorities your first 90 days in your office?
So,
what is the first big things that you said I need to fix to have a better government effectiveness and efficiency?
So, Igor, I've got a laundry list, but I'll give you my top 3 as we speak right now. And it changes.
Of course.
The first thing I would do is look at customer service. Too many times we visit government offices, the wait time is long. You call on the phone. I've got a colleague that called the clerk of court office and was on hold for 4 hours.
Wow.
Can you imagine that? 4 hours. So that is something that I will definitely fix from day one. If you call the office at the property appraiser when I was there, the longest you'll be on hold is 2 minutes and 39 seconds. The longest, if you came to our lobby before someone welcomed you and greeted you, was 38 seconds. Why does that change? How do I know that? I measured that, right? I measured it on a weekly basis, and I held people accountable. So the first thing is customer service. The first thing is really changing the culture of how we treat the public,
Correct.
right? There's a wonderful quote from Gandhi that says, "The customer is the most important visitor to our premises.
Correct.
He's not here because of us, we're here because of him.
Correct.
He's not an interruption in our work, he is the reason for it." And the poem goes on. You could Google this if you're at home. So again, wonderful message, wonderful teaching environment. So the first thing I would do is change the culture of this office to be more welcoming to our customers, our taxpayers, and of course be more resourceful to our taxpayers. That's very, very important. So again, this leads into technology as the second thing. You know, there's no reason someone in this day and age have to come to the office or get a jury summons in the mail. We're in a digital environment.
Yeah.
We have artificial intelligence. I was one of the first elected officials to study artificial intelligence at MIT, and I did so because I wanted to use it in government. So again, technology is the next thing, you know. We can receive, going back to jury summonses, we could do that digitally, right? You could get that summons in an email, go to a website, go to a portal, figure out if you qualify or you don't qualify, and move forward. Secondly is, of course, the website and technology. There's so much to be done with the Clerk of Court office with regards to the website. So the second thing is technology. And the third thing, to answer your question, is efficiency. This office needs to be efficient. There need to be policies, there need to be procedures that need to be examined and analyzed and updated.
And I'm hearing this from the public sector, and it's like when they say when they go to the government, many things don't get accomplished and waiting and stuff. So transparency, everybody talk about transparency, but transparency seems like it's, you know, when people vote for certain officials, they promise transparency. When they become elected, transparency never been there. It's just as a talking point. But transparency and public trust are major issues in the government today, as we can see. I mean, it's always been, but it's the more digital media we have, now we have more eyes on see what's really going on. Somebody can record the public officials and before you even know, reach the millions of people. So now people are more aware than ever before. So what steps would you take to make a clerk's office more transparent, efficient, accountable for citizens of Orange County compared to the current leadership?
So currently, a public information request, which is a law in the state of Florida, you send this request into the Clerk of Court currently, and it's a long, protracted wait for information. I sent a request into another government agency at probably about 9 o'clock at night, and when I woke up the next morning, I had the response from that government agency. Hey, we got your inquiry, we've assigned it to Agent X, and that agent will respond to you. Within the next hour, that person responded to me and said, hey, I have your file, I'm working on it, this is how much it may cost, and we will get back with you. That is what you're looking for in government, right?
Yeah.
That is the responsiveness.
Yeah.
Most of the time, people are not looking for the right answer, the wrong answer. They're just looking for a answer, and they're looking to be heard.
Yeah.
So responsiveness is so very important in transparency. And again, we have to understand that this information is not ours. It's not our personal information. Government, and speaking of the Clerk of Court, the Clerk of Court is one of the largest collector of data, right? And your property appraiser's office is also one of the largest collector of data. And when I got to the property appraiser's office, I looked at this data and packaged this data in such a way that it was digestible to the public. And this is what I want to do with the Clerk of Court's information that's there. So those are my plans. To take this information, package it. You can help so many industry with this information by just making it accessible to the public.
And I always want to say it's all about voters when they vote for you. That's August 1918, right?
What's that?
But August 18, primary.
Yes.
Yeah,
Election is
18.
August 18th of this year.
Of this year, yeah. So they're always looking, and that's why I always love to. This is the key points. This is the people apply for marriage license. People get subpoena. That might get a little bit better. But many other things, people are delaying, and they have to work. They have to miss the work. So if the government is not effective and efficient, so And it's a taxpayer's money as well, right?
Yeah. One of the things you raise a very important point is the line going into the courthouse in the morning. You go there at 9 o'clock and there's a line. If it's raining, you're in the rain.
Correct.
That should not happen.
Correct.
We have satellite offices,
Correct.
and if we don't have satellite offices, then we can set up satellite offices strategically around the county to take the pressure off of the court building.
Correct.
We could talk to the chief judge to scheduling with
Mm-hmm.
regards to these. All of these cases don't need to be heard at 9 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So again, working with the chief judge and working with scheduling,
Correct.
we could take off some of that pressure. So it's all about logistics. It's all about having the experience and having the wherewithal to want to do it.
Absolutely. And like I said, is there any other place or any other thing, concerns that's actually right now with the current clerk's office, the biggest concern, besides the customer service, besides the technology, is anything else that you're hearing back from your voters? Because you're knocking a lot of doors, you're going and see, you're
Yes.
doing a lot of speeches. What is the one common thing that most voters have commonly come up to you and said, "Wow, this is our biggest concern"? Yeah, technology, but not everybody is technological savvy. You
Right.
know, if you're talking about elderly citizens, for them that's a new nightmare, right?
Right.
But how you gonna how are you gonna compile citizens? That 5.67 million people live here. Orange County is a big one.
Big county, yes.
And then you have also at the same time you have a UCF college kids with the new technology. So how do you even like equalize that? Like, well, we have one side, we have elderly people who still love the old school, then we have a digital world coming with the phones and stuff. How do you make sure that everybody's happy?
So one of the things is using social media. If
Yeah.
you look at social media as a test and as a model, you have Facebook, which generates a certain population of our community. You have TikTok, you have Instagram, you have
YouTubes
YouTube,
and
right?
stuff, yeah.
So you have different audiences going to these different environments. Similarly, as the clerk of court, I'm going to look at the audiences and see the demographics, study the demographics, and have information that's available to them. We have a large Hispanic community in Central Florida. Our forms need to be translated to Spanish, right? We need to have Spanish speakers in the office. Our recordings need to be in Spanish.
Absolutely.
We have disabled people in the community. We need to serve that community. So one of the things I want to do is look at the underserved community and, of course, ensure that when we are revamping, when we're leapfrogging to services, we include them and be inclusive of them.
And the next step, are you gonna be, like you said, I'm gonna touch again on the subpoena, electronic subpoena. Now it comes down to the many people might say, well, it's the privacy, is transparency, is very digital hacking, cybersecurity. What is that? I mean, everybody talks about cybersecurity, and it's insurance. It's one of the biggest fields right now, cybersecurity. How the Orange County is gonna be ensured that the subpoena, when they hit by the mail or digital, how you gonna deliver them? You're not gonna deliver them by mail. Is a specific encryptions that they're gonna line and make sure they are receiving. What about if they don't receive? How do you know they not receive? When you have a police officer coming to your door, knocking on the door,
Yeah.
he's presently there, but dropping in the mailbox. How you gonna overcome that? How you wanna make sure it's effective and efficient?
Well, a subpoena is there are guidelines, there are laws that need to follow a subpoena. Firstly, so that is the framework of which you are going to deliver that subpoena, right? You have to ensure that these earmarks are met with regards to a subpoena. So that is the foundation for this, and then you work around the foundation to see how you can more effectively address this issue. So again, some analysis needs to be done.
Of course.
Some tests needs to be done, and deep studies need to be done in this. There are other jurisdictions that's doing this.
Oh, they do?
I would visit these jurisdictions. Seminole County, I believe, is doing digital,
subpoena.
electronic, not subpoena, but
Okay.
jury notices. So again, the jury notices are something that could be done electronically. I have done a very basic search on it, and there are organizations that's doing it. I want to go to those organizations. I want to study those organizations, see what they're doing well, and of course, inculcate it into our office and make it functional for our taxpayers.
And a follow-up question: within your first day in office, when do you thinking? What is the time frame of rolling up that?
So that's something that I would firstly like to do an analysis on.
Okay,
I'm a firm believer in not fixing something if it's broken.
Of course.
So if something is functioning well, I want to ensure that, because it's a waste to just come in and with a sledgehammer and break everything and rebuild it.
Absolutely.
If something is working well,
Yeah.
that's it's very costly to the taxpayers too.
Yeah.
So I want to be prudent, I want to be efficient, and I want to be functional. How soon it will be, again, I can't essentially put a timeline on it. But in office, I move pretty quick. I move extremely
and
quick.
that's the service is for 4 years, right?
Yes.
You
So the term is a 4-year term. Constitutional officers are elected for 4 years. This is a special election, so the office bearer would have to run again in 2028.
Okay. Okay, so it's 2 years from now. So I got a final question. Then the last question is to look it up in camera and see why the Orange County voters would vote for you. So finally, why should Orange County voters choose you as the next clerk of court? And at the end of the 4 years, what achievements would you look back and say, I accomplished what I promised to the people of Orange County?
So I am the most qualified candidate for this office simply because I've been there, I have done that. Most politicians, most elected officials that's running for office will tell you what they will do. I prefer to tell you what I have done. And what I have done at the Property Appraiser's office was won a Stevie Award for customer service, won a Digital Center Award for technology, won an Ian McClung Award for, of course, advocating Orange County and speaking about our Property Appraiser's office worldwide. These are all international awards that I've won at the Property Appraiser's office on behalf. The State of Real Estate was is still up to today one of the largest attended government event in Orange County. So why I'm running for this office is because, quite simply, I am eminently qualified. I bring a military background. I bring a business background. I bring prior experience running a large government agency. It's very, very important to have experience in this situation. Experience matters. If you make a simple mistake on a parking ticket or a driving ticket, somebody could go to jail. So this is serious. This is a serious matter. So I ask each and every one of you, when you're voting for this office, do consider the experience, do consider the track record, and do consider who the individual is. Is he someone that has integrity? Is he someone that can deliver what he says? I have delivered what I have said in my previous office and exceeded that. So I plan to bring that same level of expertise, that same level of skill, that same level of diligence to the office of Clerk of Court. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not running to be just the Orange County Clerk of Court. I'm running to be your Orange County Clerk of Court. You can find out about me by going on my website. It's votericksingh.com. Let me repeat that, votericksingh.com.
And as I said, we are exactly 2 months from today.
Yes.
Yeah, so again, guys, I bring the community leaders to spotlight, to highlight, to draw out the most important information for Orange County voters. We cover up quite a few things.
Yes.
And I'm glad that Please is a great candidate. He got experience behind him. I fully support him for being a next Orange County Clerk of Court.
Thank you.
So
Thank you so much.
please use, we'll share, like, share, care, share with others, invite others. You do a lot of great events, so please show up to his event.
Absolutely.
Asking questions directly, just the way I'm asking today, you have to ask him directly. Go. If you disagree, it's okay. Asking questions, we might fix something, but only way for him to know what is the problems or concerns, you gotta show up.
Absolutely.
You gotta be at your event. He does quite a few events for next 2 months. It's a huge event, it's huge campaigning, so please come, show up to his event. He gave you all of his information. We'll post all of information as well. We'll share. And thank you again for being our guest.
Thank you so much. This has been really a joy, and I've been looking forward to being with you, and hope I can join you another time.
Of course, after you get elected, let's get again and where we can improve. So guys, again, I'm your host, Iggy. This is our special guest, Rick Singh. Is running for Orange County Clerk of Court. A lot of experience. Please like, share, and visit his website and support him. Thank you guys. God bless you. And please don't forget to vote by August 18 or
Absolutely.
2026.
Yes.
Thank you. Bye.